Hello and welcome to that Eurovision site, Eurovision with a Slice of Life. I'm Kittens. My pronouns are she, her, and we're here today to do a little recap of the 2024 edition of Spain's Benidorm Fest. Um, I am joined by the very, very lovely.
Hello, it's Ewan. My pronouns are he, him, and yeah, I'm joining Ken's today.
So Benidorm Fest took place end of January, start of February. There were two semi-finals. Um, there was obviously one final. And in the end, Nebulossa reigned supreme with Zora. And they will be representing Spain at Eurovision 2024. Firstly, let's talk about the winning track. What are your thoughts, Ewan? What do you think its chances are at ESC?
Okay, I think it's going to do horribly. I do like it. When I first listened to it, it was a bit, it had it in sort of mid-range and it was a bit meh. After the first semi-final, it was, God, this was awful. But I think that's more of a case of just the general quality of the first semi-final audio. But I did grow when it came to like the winning performance. Yeah, I did grow to love it, and I do like it. I think it will have its own niche. Because Spain is currently staging things very well, and I think they will do this very well, even if they just go copy and paste what was in Benidorm into Eurovision. But I don't think it's going to get a left-hand side. I do worry that it could come in like the bottom five, but yeah.
Yeah, I really like it. I quite liked it from the start. I really liked it when it was performed, and I really liked how I saw it was like going off with the crowd. And when I saw it like going off with the crowd, I was like, oh, this has something. This has something that I'm like paying attention to. And I was like, hmm, this has probably got a bit more than I thought it had. Um, I I think it might get left hand side, but it entirely depends on what else comes out this year, is how I feel. Um, we have a lot of up-tempo tracks so far. I mean, we are recording this when, like, end of February, so we don't have all our tracks yet. We have a lot of up-tempo tracks, a lot of kind of tracks that might kind of take from each other in the voting results. So I think it might be really hard to tell on that right now. Um, that
Personally, though, I do think it sort of stands out a little bit more to compare to some of the other like up-tempo tracks. Because although it's not a silly song, because of like the way it's presented
mm,
with the dancers, it is sort of does lean into that sort of thing if you're not like fully aware of the context. But I don't think it's up against the likes of your Estonias and your Finlands. I think it does stand in a bit more of its
yeah.
own category in itself.
Yeah, and I definitely think, like you said, it's kind of ready to go in terms of staging. It's camp. It's ridiculously camp staging, and you can't kind of deny that. That is it. It's a great little niche. Um, we still have to see what everybody else brings for sure, but I feel like it's got promise. I don't think it's going to be like bottom of the table, but it's yeah, it might be a bit too early to say, but it's certainly got some promise for me. But I'm aware we disagree on that, which is so unlike us.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say about the song though as well is I think with what we've got so far, this is a contention for an opening on a closing show.
Yeah, I agree. It's got a lot of energy. I think it's in some cases what a lot of people might want from Eurovision, not on the like crazy and wild side, but kind of something that is a little bit like, leans into that kind of this is what we want from Eurovision traditional mindset kind of thing. So I feel like we might have a bit of that energy behind it. I certainly don't think it's a poor choice. So yeah.
I've
Um,
just seen it, it's closing the show. It's like the second half of the show. So it
yeah,
would be a really good like keep the energy going as you then go into the host talking about here's voting. This is how it works because that can be
yeah,
a bit lengthy and a bit boring. So something like energetic like that could help with it.
yeah, absolutely. I agree, definitely. And yeah, I think the way the crowd reacted to it at Benidorm really like it. That was the moment for me where they turned around.
Mhm.
And I think if you can get that kind of moment in the arena, with people doing the chanting and stuff like that, I think it could, definitely go really well.
I think it's
Um,
also this is like just an aside that isn't fully related to the song or why it should or shouldn't go, but it's also really nice to see that there is an older woman going to Eurovision as well, because I feel like recent years we are very much lacking older people in general. And when I
yeah.
say older, I mean honestly, on over 40 is old in this context because it's ridiculous how young it's become. So seeing
Yeah,
someone who is a
no,
little bit older
you're
and
absolutely
just actually,
right.
yeah, and especially
Yeah.
women, because you're getting the likes of the Let Threes last year who are like in their like 50s, 60s, but you don't really see enough older women in the national finals. So seeing that it actually them go with this and them sending someone of that age group, it's just nice to see.
Yeah, and I think the message of the song as well is like important along with that because it is this song about, the use of the word and like how that and the double standard and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know like how well that will actually come across, but regardless of whether like what the song is about, I still think that, it's a like pretty much universally boppy tune.
Mm.
And I think it will have that duality of this is a song that actually means something. Um, and it also has, this is a fun song. So yeah, I think
I
it's
do
really
think
interesting.
there is definitely the potential of lots of like the let's call it the middle-aged gays who seem like, oh my God, old women doing camp song and it's a bit sexy. Vote. All 20 votes for it. Like the sort of the locally vote there.
Yeah, I definitely see it as it definitely could get some momentum.
Mm,
And hopefully, we'll see how it does.
mm. I mean, I would honestly, although I've said that I don't think it will do it particularly well, I would love for this to do well. It would be a nice top 10.
Yeah, for sure. And we yeah, it's just good to see kind of Spain getting behind something like this and also for it to have that appeal outside of Spain, like people liking this track outside of Spain and to see them having that kind of recognition. I think it's gonna be definitely a very fun time. I mean, moving on to the national final itself. What did you think of the actual national final? The staging, the organizing, the voting, the whole shebang?
Oh, there's quite that's a quite loaded question. Um, let's start with like the prep to it. Like what I love is just how fully in RTV have gone for this one. They're not just saying like, okay, we're hosting national selection. Here's our national selection, and that's done. Like they're fully like, let's present the songs. Let's have a big presentation showing like, here's the artist, and bring back all the last ones. Here's have a presentation. Here's the song. Let's just not drop them all on Spotify on a random Tuesday afternoon. It's like here, let's actually showcase them, which I love. Like they're really putting that energy into it. But I feel that energy sort of whimpers away when you come to the actual show.
Yeah.
They're like they put so much into like the graphical identity, like giving all of the acts their own little I don't know what the actual what you would call those the little
Icons?
yeah
Little
the little icons.
iconography?
Everyone's got their own one which they've done for years, and like all they interact in different ways, and like disco ball and like mermaid and things like that. And this is graphical identity, but the hosting is just quite flat. Like you've got these great hosts, but they're just doing nothing. And it's meant to be this big celebration of like Spanish music. Like they're wanting it to be a Spanish San Remo. but there's nothing there. You're getting like a really boring interval act, and that's kind of it.
I mean, they literally borrowed from Italy for one of their interval acts this year. So,
I didn't know that
Mr.
was coming. I
Rain.
don't know if that was previously announced, but I was like, what?
If it was previously announced, I missed it because I was like, what on earth is he doing here, Mr. Rain turning up? Um,
Because I was paying attention to my TV at that point. So it was just like, what? What? I recognize this song. What's happening?
it was definitely definitely a moment. It was like bizarre, but I agree with you. Like the graphics, the the like graphical presentation, it looks great, and then it kind of feels a little messy when it actually gets to it. Um, I mean, I know Sanremo is its own level of messy, and that's a very different level of messy. But they are at least slick in what they are doing. And I feel like Benidorm Fest, it feels a little reading off cue cards kind of. I wasn't getting like a comfy vibe from like the presenters or anything like that. It was just like they were there to felt like they were kind of there to tick the boxes. Um and contrasting that to something maybe like Mellow where the hosts are such a like an integral part of the event, even to Sanremo where the hosts are such an integral part of the event, felt a little, I don't know. It felt a little kind of rushed, maybe. I don't know that that's the right word for what I'm trying to represent here, but
I
it
mean, I
definitely
definitely get
felt.
what you mean, yeah, with the hosting. But even if you compare it to like the hosting for the last two editions, it was so much more vibrant. You felt a lot
Mm,
more energy from like the three hosts last year than you sort of did from them here. Uh, It was just kind
yeah,
of meh.
yeah. But I guess sometimes you just don't get that chemistry that happens, and you can just see what happens for a future edition.
Hmm.
Um, things like that maybe aren't an easy fix. But yeah, it definitely seems like an interesting situation to be in on that front. um I mean, it Benidorm Fest is only 3 years old. Effectively, this is the third edition, right? um and just to see them putting this on and making such a big deal of it, and profiling artists in such a good manner. We get a good you know amount of like Spanish involved in the selection. That's not a thing that you get in the other selections. Really prioritizing that kind of looking at that kind of situation. And I definitely feel like Benidorm Fest is getting there. It might not be fully there, but it's definitely on the road to being a thing, you know?
Yeah, I'm
Uh
definitely agreeing, and especially what you're saying is about like them promoting like the Spanish, like the fact that there was only like what one Swedish writer, as far as I'm aware. Because I mean, every national final's got to have a decent song. But like they're not, because they're not just promoting, hey, here's a random 18-year-old Spanish singer to promote Spanish music. Also, it's actually written by a team of the Swedes who write like half of the selection shows songs. So actually like, promoting like creative talent from the country is really great. But I think it does have a bit of a way to go. And I feel like we could have made a bit more development in the 3 years. I feel that we should be at a further along stage in terms of the whole what Benidorm is.
yeah, I kind of feel what you're saying it's maybe taking too much from other shows and losing its chance to get its own identity. um like trying to be Sanremo or trying to be Mellow or trying to be any other selection show is valid, but is it not more worth to develop your own identity? You're trying to profile, you're trying to profile Benidorm, you're trying to profile Spanish music. Make your own show under your own merits, make it uniquely yours, you know. Don't try and emulate others. Borrow from others, sure, but make your own, make it your own, and kind of see how that pans out for you. And I get what you're saying is that they may be not learning from previous editions as much as they could have been, but it's early days. I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt right now and
Oh
say
yeah, no,
that
I'm not writing it
yeah,
off. Like it's I'm still
yeah.
gonna watch it next year. Like even if they do always like destroy my favorites every single year.
I mean, talking of that, which were your favorites this year? Which were your personal ones that like
Like
stood out?
let me just get up my Eurovision scoreboard again, which is let's face it, it's the only way. Sorry, I know you're a spreadsheet queen, but like it's the only way to actually like rank Eurovision songs. Like my top three, and it's so I'm gonna be made fun of for this. My top three were San Pedro, Kiski Nisa, and Roger Padros.
Yeah, and it won't surprise you to find out that none of those were in my top three.
I'm to be honest, I would be surprised if they were in your like top 13.
Yeah, me and you have very different music tastes. Um,
The
yeah.
the Unz Unz fan and the sad lad lover.
Uh, yeah, I mean for me there was like I really liked the recording for Sophia Cole for Here to Stay. The performance was messy, and Benidorm Fest has this habit of performances being really, really messy. Um, and there are several songs which I maintain that have never been performed live. Culpa. Um, but uh, it didn't really pan out. She still got a good result, like a good result, just not as good as I was hoping. Um, I really liked Lyrica as well, Astronauta. I thought that was really fun. Again, another one
Of
which
course, you like the
was
most Swedish coded one.
it was a lot of fun. I like a song that's a bop. Um, and I think I I really liked Brillos Platino on the recording, and when it came to it actually on stage, I was just like, it completely passed me over. They tried all these special effects and all these fancy stuff, and I was just like, yeah, this is certainly something that exists. And I was wildly disappointed. So it is what it is. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. It
I
just
would see
goes
with for me, Brillis Platinos, I had it like I think third last in, but I had like I was liking the potential it could have, and then um it didn't
it just
have it
didn't.
did it just didn't. It was just there. But I feel like there were also a few songs that were like there. Like I didn't like Here to Stay, but I did feel like there was a lot more potential there, and it was just like it was so Go Girl Give Us Nothing.
It really seemed to struggle on the night. The staging was baffling. I
Which is
didn't
why
get
I'm
it
really
at
confused on
all.
how that qualified,
The outfit
given
was
yeah.
baffling. The staging was baffling. The vocals were
Were there
struggling.
vocals?
There were they were struggling. Um, and as much as I will probably have that song on my playlist forever, part of me is just like the live just simply does not exist. So yeah, I don't know. What about your ones? What about San Pedro and Roger Padros and stuff?
Like San Pedro, it was just so aggressively Spanish in look because I
In a
like I know
Spanish selection?
I know everyone loved Maria, oh what's her name,
Maria Pellai. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Is that the one?
Yeah, Maria Pele, because like okay, it's so authentically Spanish, and so like, I hate it. It was my last place, but for me, this is like your Spanish crooner. Of course, he's like way too young to be it, but crooner in waiting. It was just so disgustingly Spanish, and I was wanting it to like do well because it would bomb at Eurovision. I mean, it would come like bottom five, but I don't care. I just want my favorites to win. Um,
I'm valid, valid.
like Noan with the TES, they I will admit it's not a good song. It really isn't a good song.
You can't say that. If you like it, it's a good song.
No, I can object to like you can objectively say like, okay, this is my favorite. It's a terrible song. They can't sing. No, I think he could sing. There was definitely the graphics were a choice. The fake
Oh.
rain.
Mm.
Let's just ban AR from Eurovision. We need a moratorium in it. Because it's just not working. I've always hated it, even when my favorites have used it, like in like 2018, things like that. It just doesn't work. It just looks awful. But Roger Padros, I mean, it's a sad Catalan man
Yeah.
on a piano. It's a sad Catalan man on a piano. It's just like this is the
It's
most you and bait
so,
song that you could
yeah,
think.
it is so you coded. I don't, yeah. There is no
Oh,
way you would be able to resist that. Not in a million years.
because I don't even. I think it was one of the last songs I listened to as well. I think actually might have been the last song I listened to. And it's like, oh fuck, this is gonna be my favorite. Because I really hate when it's like it's so obvious what mine's gonna be, but it's like his voice was amazing. He really like connected. Um, and it just worked. I mean, also I did love like the Prisionero. I don't know how that didn't qualify. Um, and to be honest, Astronaut Lyrica, like it was shit, but
It was
it was
fun.
good. It was
It was
fun. It
shit,
was
but
what
it
you
was
it was
fun.
it was the good sort of it's an old Andrew Quanson song from like 2016 to 2019, that sort of era. It's like it's not going to win, but they're just going to get to Andrew Quanson in Melfest. It's because I mean
It's
it's a Swedish song.
Melfest in Melfast. Everybody's
Yes.
having a very good time, but it's not winning.
It's just here for the fun of it. Um, but yeah, like I
Yeah,
okay, I'm going to say this. I'm going to be out. Caliente was good.
I completely passed me by on the recording.
Same. I
I
liked his previous attempt in 2014. Um, but it just that performance. And it's not even like the reason people love the performance. For those of you who haven't seen it, it's rather
it's quite you need a cold shower afterwards. It
muy
is.
caliente.
Yeah. I completely wrote it off on the recording. I was like, this is fun, but it's not gonna get anywhere. And then to see it be like fourth, I think it came in the
Third,
end.
it's a third.
Third. Um, but yeah, I was like, oh, 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 oh. I was like, oh, this does have something. This does have something. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by that one. I think that's I've always found that Benidorm Fest, like even like going back to Chanel, like I had written off slow-mo when I first heard it, and by the time I'd seen it perform, I was like, oh, this has to go. So I've
I had that thought in
always
a different way.
yeah. But equally, like I think Benidorm Fest, one of the things it kind of reveals quite well is who is a really good performer. And you need it to be more than the song to succeed at Eurovision. And I think, coming back to like Zora, I think that's another thing that's like great about the song is, it's not just a good song. These are good performers, and the staging is good, and the whole thing is just like whoomp because of this whole production of it. It's not just the one thing. So, I think that's kind of important.
And I
Um,
do I do think like in spite of sorry, not in spite, like Nebulosa. were probably the best performers of the whole night as well. Also, sorry, I corrected you when I was incorrect. I was thinking of the semi-final when Jorge came third. He was actually fourth. Sorry, you were correct. Let's have correct facts. But yeah, I think if you're going entirely by like the Eurovision Performer Contest, Nebulosa was probably the best of that. They had the best
Mm,
stage presence. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Um, do we need to talk about the voting system?
Right. I don't know. I
In
don't think I've
this
ever had
essay,
this
I
rant with
will.
you. I don't think I've ever had this rant with you, but I have annoyed many people at the sites. Demoscopic votes are not televotes. They are something completely separate in itself. They are not jury votes. They are completely something separate in itself. Having 50% jury votes, 25% demoscopic, and 25% televote isn't absolutely. Are we allowed to swear in this video? I don't give a fuck. It's just fucking absurd. They're not the same. They're not the same fucking thing. And also, why the in the ever loving? Why is it not proportional?
It's that I have no like the voting system baffles me. The amount of votes received baffles me. Was it like
2 million people watched that, and the winner got 4,484 votes in the televote.
how? What is happening? I genuinely don't understand. I'm like, somebody please explain, somebody please do some girl maths because I something is occurring here. I am baffled. Baffled. The voting, I don't, I do and I don't, no, I don't understand the logic. I can keep pretending that I understand the logic of how the voting split is, but I don't have a clue.
But like, you can get more votes in a Lithuanian semi for some of these acts.
They did,
Like,
didn't they?
yeah. Also, for those of you who have not actually like properly delved into it, um, there was only 2 votes difference between Nebulosa and Jorge in the final televote. That's not 2 votes in the overall combined one. That's 2 literal votes. Jorge got 4,482. Nebulosa got
Yeah.
4,484. That
Yep.
is obscene.
It
That's
is.
obscene, but that's then it's not a proportional televote. Like what the hell is wrong with that? And the jury votes just seem a bit odd. There's not enough points in the entire contest. And then you've got nothing is proportional and it's just wrong. Then you've got stupid things in this selection show, like an act can win 72% of the bloody televotes and then not win, which is just absolutely sickening. Sorry, I need to bring up Tansugira should have won every single time Benidorm
Here we
has
go.
been
Here we go.
discussed.
In this essay, I
Actually, I bring that
will.
if you listen to a lot of our videos, like I bring that up a lot, don't I?
You need to just write an essay and get it all out.
That would
a,
not be allowed to be published on the site.
a
I'd get VO'd
six
for the amount of
hour
swearing.
video essay. 6 hour video essay about it. Um,
I should tell Angus, he'd be up for that.
I mean, the voting is baffling. I I just don't know what to say about it. I don't even know. There's so much bizarre about it that I'm just like, at this point, it feels kind of just like Calvin Ball. Like, you'll just get through if you get through. And I'm wildly baffled, but it is what it is. I maybe something to think about for future editions. Which leads me nicely on to my next question. Um, very quickly, what are the kind of things you would like to see Benidorm Fest do for a future edition?
I don't know how this would fully work and if it would fully work, but I would really like Spain to do regional acts. So you have 2 from the Madrid community, 2 from Catalonia, 2 from Andalusia, something like that, or like 1 from Murcia, 1 from Asturias, and like something like that to really like showcase all Spanish talent. Because you're getting one song each year that's not in that's entirely not in Spanish.
Mm,
And obviously Spain has huge linguistic variety. And it's like, but you're not really showcasing that. And I really think Benidorm should showcase all Spanish music, not just millennial Castilian pop.
mm,
And I think that's a good way of having the regional votes because from what I understand, a lot of the regional music scenes are very different in Spain. Like you can't really compare what's like in Galicia and Andalusia. They are their own micro climates. And it would help showcase and bring the diversity because it is a good show for diversity of musical
yeah,
styles. And I think they just really need to amp it up. And to be honest, even if you bring in that sort of voting in it and just make it something different, because
yeah.
this like the voting is just
We could have like we have with say MGP where we have like the northern vote, the southern vote
yeah.
and stuff like that. Just something to like, give that kind of differentiation and make it a bit more, competitive almost. Like you'd have regions facing off against each other a little bit, and that would be like a little bit more fun maybe.
Because I also think it would like help foster like votes because you had a lot of people in Galicia like fully supporting Tanchugueras being there because it's a Galician song within the contention of winning. So like you'd help bring up because you they 2 million people, yeah, it's a lot, but Spain has like what 40 million people in it. Like you can there's definitely room to have a lot more viewers.
Mm.
And I think that could be a way to like drum support.
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, for Benidorm Fest, I think they're doing a lot of things right, or they're getting to on the way to doing a lot of things right. But I just want to see like it be a bit more refined. I want to see slightly I don't want to say slightly different music from them, but I want to see a little bit more variety from them. I know they're doing well, but I would like to see like that. I like your idea. I think it's a great idea. Send that to RTV. But I just want to see something a little bit special from them. I think what they've got with Zora is really good, but I don't know, it doesn't feel like it has the magic of previous editions yet. Um,
No,
I
I definitely agree with that.
I really enjoyed Chanel. I really enjoyed Blanca Paloma. Surprisingly. Um, but I the both of those had a certain kind of magic for me. And this one so far has not reached it. There's still time for something to change with the performance and it reach it, but we shall see. We shall see. Anyway, we must wrap up. So thank you very, very much, Ewan, for joining me. You have been especially lovely. If you enjoyed this recap, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel, so you can be notified when we have a new recap, interview, or reaction video. Also be sure to follow us on every social media going. So that's at Eurosite or at that Eurosite on Twitter, Facebook, Threads, Blue Sky, Tumblr, Instagram if I've forgotten any. And of
Where?
course, and also be sure to check out that Eurovision podcast on all the streaming sites. All that's left for me to say is thank you very much. And thank you for watching. Kittens out, you in
Doodles.
out. Bye.